In the history of mankind, there has never been a war which has demanded such complex tactics and so many sophisticated weapons as the war in Vietnam. An entirely new concept of warfare, known as heliborne, or air mobile operations, has been developed by the United States Army and has been successfully employed to meet the problems posed by Southeast Asia's hostile wilderness and the enemy who hides there.
Australians are almost lost among the American and Thai troops at this huge base called Bearcat, just north-northeast of Saigon. The Australians are part of the American Army's 135th Helicopter Assault Company, the only fully integrated unit in South Vietnam. Cobra gunships fire dozens of rockets into the old coconut grove and maintain a hail of fire as the choppers drop into the landing zone.
Probably one of the most recognized aircrafts, at least in the United States, if not most of the world. Even if people don't associate it with the Vietnam War, they recognize a Huey.
I enjoy hovering the aircraft. Bringing it up off the ground into a hover is always quite refreshing. Banking it and doing some descents, and it's always a thrill to shoot an approach to landing. Just flying 309 is it's a joy.
I thought it was going to be a lot of work and blood, sweat, tears, and feuds. Nobody talking to one another for a month at a time. No, I knew it was going to be I knew it was going to be a handful, you know. The night we finally painted the United States Army and the tail number on it, you know, we took the stencils off, and it was late at night. We were all hollering, "It's alive, it's alive!" And so, anyways, yeah, that's when it started to hit you, going, "Holy Toledo, you know, what have we done?" Prior to that, it was just a whole hangar full of parts laying all over the, you know, place. Parts to be painted, parts to be prepped, parts to be repaired, parts to be primed, parts to be color-coded, stuff laying all over. And then once it started taking shape, and once we got it painted and started putting the stencils on, then you went, this is turning into something, you know? January was the start of our 8th year, and the thing hasn't conked out on us anywhere we've gone. You know, it's really unusual for a helicopter of A, that size, and B, that period, that vintage. So it's been a good bird. It's been a good bird. We've been really lucky. Yeah.
A twin-engine bomber in World War II, the Douglas A-20 Havoc, was built in about the same numbers as Huey's, and there are no flyable versions of it left on the planet because nobody did what Peter and I did, which was to say, hey, why don't we keep one? So the goal is preserve it, fly it enough for people to see it, sort of propagate the history of the war and the people who fought it in these helicopters, and then I'm enlisting my son, who's taken an interest, in friends that are younger, so that after I'm dead and Peter's dead, this thing will move ahead on its own. That's the idea.
Well, one of the things that I'm trying really hard to do in terms of preserving the project into the future is trying to have a very broad understanding and ability to work with the project. Public relations type of stuff, trying to work hand in hand with Peter on the maintenance and also learning how to fly, and as well as getting a lot of history from all of them and trying to get everything I can from them and remember as much as possible so that I can make the connection that we have now when they're not able to go to air shows or to events in the future, that I can bring as much of them with me as possible.
In 10 years, I'd like to see the project be at least 2 aircraft, 309, an H model Slick, which was a troop carrier, and a second aircraft, either a Charlie model or an M model, as a gunship that flew support for our Slicks, so that both versions of the Huey and the way that they were used in the 135th Assault Helicopter Company is represented. We would like to restore the Mike model as a helicopter that we called American Woman. It was a gunship with rocket pods on the outside. So I would like to see us have a brick and mortar museum, 2 aircraft, a trained cadre of pilots and crew, and that we become known as a place where anybody who served as a crew member in an assault helicopter company in Vietnam, or is family surviving somebody who served in a helicopter company in Vietnam, who heard stories all their lives, can come and experience that and be educated about that. And even go home with some souvenirs if they want.